So here we are on the Tesla chart. It's the daily chart. We can see back in December 2024, we actually hit this all-time high. And then we got this amazing pullback all the way back to this 50% line. Tesla is an absolute solid stock. So when we get a pullback like this, we want to take advantage of it. Now, in most situations, I won't buy at the 10% level. I will only buy at the 20% level down. But we'll use it as an example. What we'll do is we'll have a path and we'll go through each one. So we come down to this level, which is 10%, and we're buying in. Now, let's just say you bought in with $100 there. That's absolutely fine. Then we buy in again at $100 at the 20% line. Now, let's bear in mind here, sometimes we might get a better fill being underneath that, which is absolutely fine. But we're always taking profits at the levels above. 50% off at the first level, 50% off at the second level. We get this nice move up, so we get to take 50% off, and then we get this move back down where we put the trade back on again. So we've taken 50% off, including the profits, and then we've put 50% back on, but we've left the profits in our bank. That's the way we do it. Then we pull down again, and we pull down again. So each time we're pulling to a level, we're buying. We eventually get to this 50% level, and then we're in a lot more. Usually what I would do is, if I'm buying at 20% down, I'll buy, let's just say, I'll make an example, 100, 100, 100, 200, 400. That way I've got a nice amount of money in it, using around about $1,000 to trade this. Then we pull back up, but we don't actually get back up to here until April. And then we are selling at this level. So we're selling 50% of our 50% entry here. So we've got half a cycle completed. Then we move up to this level. And that means we're out with a full cycle from the 50%. We pull back to 40. So we're buying again. We're selling again at this level. We're buying again at this level. This is where it really starts paying off for you. We're buying again at this level. We're selling at this level. We're selling at this level, and we're finally selling at this level. So let's just go through that. We've bought at 10% and we've bought at 20%. We've taken 50% of the 20% trade off, and then we've bought it again, only 50%. So if this was $100, we've sold 50 here, we're back in with another 50 here. So we're only putting in the original amount. We must be clear about that. Then we've bought again here, we've bought again here, and we've bought again here. We've sold off 50% of the 50 trade, and then 100% of the 50 trade at this point. So that is a full cycle for the 50 trade. Now at 40%, we've taken 50% off. We've taken our profits, then we've bought again here. So we've taken, if we're using $100, just because it's an easy example, we've taken 50% of that off, including the profits, and we've put $50 back in. We've kept our profits in our bank. We've then sold here, we've bought here, and then we've sold here again. So we've made some good money on this movement back and forwards from the 40 to the 30. So at this point, we're actually out 50% with our 40% trade, and then we get a full cycle for the 40% trade. So we're out complete with the 40, we're out completely with a 50. Now our 30% trade is 50% out here, and then 100% out when we get here. Now at this point, we've got 50% out from our 20% trade as well. Remember, these are all individual trades at each level. What we can choose to do here, which I did, was take everything out completely. So I took 100% out at 10% because I'm not 100% sure we'll hit an all-time high again. We've come back up, we've tested some levels, which is a little more advanced. We're not going to talk about that in this video. So I thought we'd go out at exactly this point, which was only today. Actually, it was yesterday, or was that Friday? We're out completely at this level. And I didn't take a 10% trade in the first place. But if I did take a 10% trade, I could have went out at break even at this level. making sure that I was out for a full cycle. Now, what do we do once we've got a full cycle out? Well, once we've got a full cycle out, we can reinvest the money. So rather than buying at $100 at each level, we can now buy at maybe 120, 125, 130, all depending. And then you could add extra if you want to do, if you're becoming more and more confident with the way it works. This is how we reinvest the money to make more money. This is just one stock. Imagine doing that over 10 to 20 stocks. Now, it's investment trading for a reason, because we're not in and out of the market every day. We're staying in for a long time. You can only ever lose money if you sell your stock at a loss. We don't do that because we're always buying good, solid, profitable stocks that are going to be around for a long time. That's very simple, very straightforward. That's the strategy. That's how I delivered it. Buying and selling at the right levels, and that's how you're going to do it, and that's how you're going to make really good investment choices.